Welcome everyone. Yesterday was a full moon in Leo. And some of us were talking about getting to see the full moon over the weekend and how beautiful it was, not just in the daytime, but also in the evening. So I don't know if it disrupted your sleep. I don't know if it disrupted your emotions, because the full moon can tug on our heartstrings and can sometimes create some irritability or restless behavior. I actually sailed through this one without any trouble, which was nice. I even slept. But remember, if you have had insomnia with this particular one, because we're all going to be different, have your legs up the wall. Maybe, at some point this evening for 15 or 20 minutes before you go to bed. And that should ease your nervous system enough so that you can get a better night's sleep. It really is a medicinal thing to try out. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this particular full moon. I'll give you some astrology with it. But before I take you into your first pose, I want to say that when I was listening to some astrologers concerning this particular moon, one of them was talking about the fact that Uranus just went direct on the 22nd of January. And Uranus, that particular planet, tends to bring up disruptions and shocks and revelations and disruptions like earthquakes and volcanos. And but it also is about liberation and freedom. But anyway, I wasn't really surprised because the full moon kind of brings things into culmination, brings things into its fullness. So I really wasn't surprised this morning waking up to 3 earthquakes. So there was one in Buffalo, and there was a really bad one that happens in Turkey and Syria. So maybe send some good energy, to those people at some point during your practice, because, life's just hard anyway, but especially dealing with that type of devastation. So remember that if you can, especially when we're in a twist. And sometimes in a twist, we'll talk about what we're radiating out beyond the space and even beyond this landmass and across seas, sending our love, goodwill, and compassion to different places around the earth. So let's start in tadpole pose. This full moon I mentioned was in Leo, and it was called the snow moon. So let's bring the big toes together and let's separate the thighs pretty wide. Take your hands down, slide them out in front of you, and pour down to your brow. Let your elbows drop down. Your fingertips might actually even slightly curl in, so you don't have to be overly engaged. However, I would recommend separating your hands shoulder distance apart, because when they're closer together, the shoulders can kind of cinch in towards the spine. And right now we're trying to get the shoulders to relax. Now you are going to be spilling down between the legs, which means you may have a light and gentle curve in the low back as your belly dips towards the floor. If that's not good for your back for any reason, you can try to hug the belly in, or you can even close your thighs and knit them together to bring in that support. All right, so I already mentioned Uranus going direct and what this full moon could potentially bring that it's already brought. But also right now in the skies, Pluto is at the end of Capricorn before moving into Aquarius. And this tends to bring up the shadow side of things. Pluto governs rules and regulations. It's about top-down control. So expect for the top-down control to get louder and to try more fearful tactics. Even though this may be attempted, it's going to become hollow and it's not going to be as influential because the power is shifting back to people. Meaning that individuals are starting to realize we are our own inner authority. We don't have to be so dependent upon the leadership that we have now. So think about any time during the day where you start hearing or succumbing to fear. I want you to think about turning the dial of your mind, turning the dial of your heart more towards that aspect of love and trust. I heard an astrologer mention this with a good analogy. She said, if you're listening to Sirius XM radio, if you're wanting to hear classical music, you're not gonna dial the station to a classic rock station. If you're wanting to listen to country music, you're not gonna dial it to lithium that plays hard rock music. So we can change our frequency. Remember what frequency we're aiming for and what we want to broadcast into the world. Now, this moon in Leo was at 16 degrees. 16 degrees in the tarot is the Tower card. And that represents sudden changes, liberation, and to expect the unexpected. This particular full moon falls exactly in between the two eclipse seasons. 16 in numerology equates to 7. And the numerology for 2023 is 7, which is a highly spiritual number. From now until May, all planets are direct, which means they're game-changing months. Time to take action. And think about the moon being in Leo, which represents the lion. Being bold, being courageous, being a leader. And Leo represents love, the love of life, creativity, honesty, and integrity when we're connected to our hearts. So begin your yogic breath work if you haven't already. Now that you've been taking in this information regarding the moon. Breathe in a deep diaphragmatic way. Maybe even noticing your back lungs balloon up as you inhale and dropping in on the exhale. If you want to practice the Ujjayi breath, you can constrict the back of the throat and allow the breath to become audible to hear. Let's take 3 more. Grounding down into our bodies and helping to center and focus the mind. On the next inhale, let's go ahead and slide the hands back and press into the hands to lift the torso up. This is still okay for your ankles and knees. It looks like everyone's okay. You're going to spin your fingers around to face your body. And you may or may not be able to land to the wrist. Don't worry about that. But you should still feel the stretch in the wrist and up the carpal tunnel region through the forearms. Sometimes this can be pretty intense. So just take a moment, breathe into it. And this is a position we can take for Simhasana, the lion's pose. Since this is in Leo, we're going to do 3 lion's breaths. So take a deep breath in through your nose. Expel the tongue and exhale through the mouth. Good, 2 more. Last one. Good, now gently lift the weight off your wrist. Turn the hands back around. Walk your hands in and align your vertebrae over the pelvis. Bring the back of the hands together and join your thumb and index fingers together. We'll do a counter stretch. Turning the fingertips in towards the heart, up towards the chin. Roll through your wrist, bring the thumbs together, and then turn the hands down as you roll to the back of the hands. So we're just circling them with this called flowing lotus mudra. Nice, and then come forward to hands and knees, which means you're gonna have to crawl the knees up underneath your hips. Curl your toes under now and pick up the knees and push back to downward facing dog. Separate your fingers wide and flatten down through the fingers and knuckles so you're not just weight bearing on your wrists. Press up and out of your shoulders. Lengthen as far as you can up through the vertebrae, flying the hips, lowering your head. And if you find that straightening the legs is too much for your hamstrings, you're welcome to bend the knees. Everybody take a cleansing breath here. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Good, now travel the feet forward towards the top of the mat. Lining them up side by side and just flip your hands open if they happen to touch down and fold into your Uttanasana. Let your head release, let your neck unravel. And notice if the majority of your weight is taking residence in your heels. If that's the case, tip yourself forward so that you can also feel the weight underneath the balls of the feet as well as the toes. Now see if you can magnetize the heart a little lower down towards your knees or shins. Opening up the back body and knowing that forward folds are a great way to calm the mind. All right, on your next inhale, plug the feet down into the floor. And as you really press the feet down, feel the legs lengthen. Feel the joints line up. Feel the muscles hug close to the bone. Maybe some more intensity in your hamstrings. And then sweep the arms to your sides and up overhead. Coming up to stand, Urdhva Hastasana. Let your arms frame your face. Fingertips reaching upward. Feet plowing downward. And then exhale, bring the hands together and draw them down to heart center. All right, keep your palms glued together. Lace your fingers, and you're going to take the knuckles right up underneath your chin. All right, continue to keep the structure through your lower body. And we're going to inhale to the count of 4 or 6 and exhale to the same count. So as you inhale, slowly begin to expand your elbows wide and then peel the palms apart, tilting your head back. And as you exhale, draw the arms forward together, close your palms shut, and bring the chin back down. So again, 4 to 6 counts as you inhale and exhale. Second round. Nice, one more breath like this. Just go to your specific range. Inhale, circle the arms to your sides. And that, this time, shrug the shoulders up towards your ears. Lace your hands together to Jupiter or this temple mudra. Pointer fingers reaching up. Arms hugging the head. Chin parallel to the floor. Find a drishti point. And then exhale, curve to your left. Remember, it's not about how far you go. Make sure you have a nice open channel of breath. Affirming here, strength and courage fills up my body cells. Inhale, let's come back up. Exhale, let's take it over to the right. Breathing into this left side body, into this left lung. Be sure that you're not tucking the tailbone, shifting your hips forward. Make sure that the top arm is not shielding the face. It's out of your peripheral line of view. And then inhale, come up to the top. Now I'm going to step to the left side of my mat to show you what you're doing. You're stepping to the left side of your mat and you're facing Michelle and Cindy over there. So what we're coming into is Kali Goddess. So the feet are turned out, the knees are bending, the thighs are widening. Bring your hands to prayer position at your heart. So it's coming down like a higher form of squat. You got it. And then inhale, open your arms out, squeeze your biceps. Take a deep breath in here. And then as you exhale, lower the fingertips down below your shoulders. Keep bending the knees, keep dropping the tailbone. Have your torso parallel to the ground. Keep your thighs rolling away from your side waist. And then as you exhale, turn your fingers back. Walk your hands through and then bow your head lower. So we're really getting to the hips here. And the second chakra is governed by the element of water. And that relates back to the moon. One last breath. And now walk your hands back underneath your face, straighten your arms. Bring your hands to your thigh bones. Slowly begin to lift back up. Good, hands to prayer position at the heart. Turn your heels back behind your toes. So the legs are parallel. Stretch out through your arms. Good, rotate your right foot towards the front side of the ring. Lengthen out over the right leg. Drill the feet down. Firm up your foundation as you lower the right hand and uplift your left. Coming into triangle pose. Now, when you're in triangle pose, try to align your right shoulder and arm over your thigh. That's great. Lengthen through the spine. Make sure there's space between your navel and your heart. Try to align your neck in line with the rest of the vertebrae. Feel as though your left hand is your antenna and you're dialing your frequency up. One more deep breath. As you exhale, start to extend your left arm over the left ear. Push back into your left hip. Breathe into your side body. And inhale, bring that left arm back up overhead. Turn your hand around and then slide it behind your back at the sacral area. Once you have it behind your back, see if you can dial your heart up towards the sky. A little roll back with your left shoulder. If it strains the neck to look over the shoulder, you can keep looking towards this painted wall. One more deep breath. And then inhale, radiate it back up towards the sky. Sweep it back across the left ear. Turn down to look at your right foot. And when you're ready, lunge that knee. Bring the hands to the floor or blocks and you may have to wiggle the left toes back a bit. Good, now look at your front knee. Since we're being active here, we don't want that knee to go past the ankle. Try to have it perpendicular to the floor. All right, determine here, because we're gonna start straightening this front leg, whether or not you need blocks, and you may not know until we get there. But if you wanna bring them in alongside the foot, go ahead. Push down through the right foot, straighten out through the right leg, and hold here for a moment. I want you to pay attention to the left hip. If it feels a little airy, or like it's spinning back behind your right hip, you're going to pivot it towards the front side of your mat. And when you do that, that's going to help to square the hips. You should feel the IT band on the outside of that right leg fire up if you get the sacrum flat and the hips square. All right, from here, we're going to flow. So this is actually going to be our inhale here. And as we exhale, we're going to lunge the knee and look out into the room. Good, inhale, we straighten the front leg and you can bow down. Lunging the knee, looking out. Inhale, straightening out and bowing the head. Good, continue this process. Remember, we want to be our own authority, and that means staying in control of our breath and our actions. In yoga, we also talk about being your own teacher and relying on your higher self. Okay, one more. This time when you come into the lunge, you're probably not going to want the blocks, because we're going to lower the left hand down to the floor and lean into that arm a little bit. Rotate your right foot out to the side to the pinky toe side of the foot, so the knee wings away. And now you can stay on the ball of the left foot and fly the right arm up, or you might feel inspired to slide the right foot back a little to flip to the outer edge of your back foot. And this is called Soma lunge. Now really push the ground away from you with your left hand. That way your hips don't drag down. Keep breathing as though you're trying to receive the Soma, the nectar of the moon. I know this can get hard to hold. Let your breath fuel you. And on your exhalation, slowly turn back to the ball of the back foot. Wiggle the right foot forward again if you slid back. Press your palms down and step into plank. Now hold plank. Belly hugging in. Heart held in. And now rock forward, lower down to chaturanga at a slow speed. And then inhale, fly the heart through and up, upward facing dog. Curl your toes, use your core. Rock and roll back, downward facing dog. Maximize your breath here. We're going to do a few more vinyasas, but at a slow pace, so we can build strength as well as flexibility, so that we're not rushing through, becoming restless with this full moon energy. Inhale, roll forward plank. Remember, you can always modify on knees, tabletop, as well as half chaturanga. When you're ready, slowly lower. Inhale, build up. Exhale, roll back. Holding downward facing dog. Breathing well. Inhale, forward plank. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Take your time. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Hold and breathe. your next in breath, let's go ahead and walk the feet forward towards the top of the mat. Folding in half when you arrive. Plugging the feet down, structuring the legs. Draw the navel in as you bow over and hang your arms free. Now, if you need to bend the knees, if that's better for your body, you can go there. Personalize your practice. You are your own best teacher. You are your own authority. Embrace that Leo energy. Inhale, come halfway up. Ardha Uttanasana, lengthen out through the vertebrae. Draw the shoulders back away from your ears. Exhale, pour back down. Inhale, draw all the way up to the top. Urdhva Hastasana. Holding here, pinkies roll in. Spread your shoulder blades. It's like spreading your wings. Feel that action in your core. And then exhale, bring hands down to Anjali Mudra, prayer position at your heart. All right, we're going back into that breath. Fingers in our legs, knuckles under the chin. 4 to 6 counts, breathing in. When you're ready, breathing out. Power of 3, 2 more. Last one. Good. Once you're here, inhale. Sweep the arms to your sides and up. Lace your hands together to that mudra above, creating a steeple for this temple of body that we're taking care of today. Exhale. This time we're going to curve to the right first, creating that crescent moon shape that represents consciousness. So the full moon is often trying to highlight something in our psyche. Have you noticed anything that it's trying to bring your attention to? Inhale, come up to the top. Exhale, take it off to the left. And then plug in the affirmation. Strength and courage fills up my body cells. The strength and courage to take whatever action you feel compelled to take. Inhale, let's come up. We're going to step to the right. Now, Julie and Brenda's in the front of the room. You're going to take Kali Goddess again. So the toes turn out from the heels. The knees bend. You're coming into that higher form of squat. Your arms can be up, your biceps contracting. All right, exhale. We're going to bring the fingertips down. Now, when you bring the fingertips down, the feet are our primary foundation. We're really not trying to put a lot of weight in the fingers. So if you notice you're white knuckling your hands, try not to. Even when I'm asking you to elevate your heels. So see if you can lift your ankles off the floor. If that's too much, leave them on the ground. Again, you're your own inner authority and teacher. Listen to your body's needs. Now, if you want to go to spider pose, cross the hands, turn the fingers to face each other. Remember, we're all part of the tapestry of life. Good. When you're ready, bring the hands to uncross. Lower the feet back to the ground. Bring your hands to your knees. That'll help to lift you back up. All right, now go ahead and bring your hands to your hips. Turn your heels back behind your toes. Toes facing the windows. And then stretch out your arms. Forward a little bit, so don't knock. And then left foot rotates. Extend over the left side, windmill down to your triangle pose. Right arm reaching up towards the heavens above. And then check in with all the little alignment cues. Are your feet really drilling down? Are the legs straightening out without locking the knees? Are you lining the left arm over the left thigh? Can you roll the left shoulder back? And remember the frequency you're emitting. Now take that top arm over the side of the face and then press back to that right hip. Create as much space as you can on your right side waist and in between your ribs. Breathe into that right lung. Inhale, sail it back up. Rotate the hand to face the wall behind you, and then thread that arm behind your back, maybe to the sacral area, maybe sliding it towards your waist. Let the right shoulder roll back. Let your heart dial up. And if it strains the neck to look up, you can neutralize your neck. We'll plug in the affirmation for this pose when we now lift the right hands. Energy and joy flow down to me. Good, now take that arm back alongside the ear. Look down. And when you're ready, come into the lunge. Check in to see whether or not you need to reposition the feet to get that front shin perpendicular to the floor and on the ball of the back foot. Now this is where we're gonna eventually straighten the legs. So maybe you want blocks, maybe you can use your fingertips. All right, let's go ahead and press into the left foot, straighten out the left leg. And be mindful of your pelvis. More than likely that right hip's rolling open a little bit, so dial it forward. Square the hips. Feel the activation in the outside of the front leg. Or down if you want. But remember, this will eventually become the inhale. So let's breathe in here. Exhale, lunge the knee, lift the head, gaze out. Inhale, coming back to the standing form of Panavanasana. And then exhaling into the lunge. Slow, steady breathing. Slow, steady movement. Couple more. And last one. Good. From the lunge, we're going to go towards Soma lunge. So come onto your right hand, and you're kind of leaning that shoulder over the hand as well. And then rolling the left foot, maybe winging the knee out, flying the left hand skyward. Now, if you roll to the outer edge of the back foot, you may feel the temptation to slide the left foot back a bit, and that's okay. Listen to those little intuitive messages if they're received. Imagine a moonbeam pouring down upon you now, offering you the gifts of the Leo energy, integrity, boundless love, leadership, courage. Exhale, let's turn back to face the front. All right, when you're ready, left foot plank. All right, from here though, we're gonna tilt the hips up and back. We're gonna travel the hands back in the direction of the feet this time. Lining them up. Lining the legs over the ankles and bowing forward and down. All right, so we're gonna do the vinyasas a little different this time. We're gonna walk the hands forward. When you walk them down the lane of your mat, you're coming into plank. You're rocking forward and lower down with a slow speed. Inhaling, up dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Walking the hands back on the in-breath. Folding deeper in on your out-breath. Inhale, sliding the hands up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, roll down, Uttanasana. Inhale, walk it out. Exhale, low push up. In to open the heart. Out to downward facing dog. In and walk the hands back towards your toes. Exhale, land your heels and close in. Inhale, lift and lengthen up halfway. Exhale, roll back down towards your thighs. Inhale, one more, walking the hands out. Now, if you want to make this a little bit more challenging, instead of doing up dog, you can bring the right knee in, drop down, push up, and back to down dog. Again, you can go to that same vinyasa, or you can now come through left elbow or left knee to left elbow. Dip down like chaturanga, push up, and power back down dog. All right, from downward facing dog, let's all meet here. And I want you to bend the knees, look forward towards your hands, and leapfrog forward into Malasana. Now, when you're in Malasana, those that need to sit on blocks, it should be in front of you. It should be easy access to grab. You're welcome to use it. Or you're welcome to be here, freestyle. Hands to heart, hips heavy. Crown lifted. And breathe. Bring your hands into the mudra, Yana mudra, and then start to roll the hands like we did earlier after the lion's pose. All right, we're gonna take the hands down. And those of you sitting on the block, you may just wanna walk it back. But those of us that leapt forward and we're still good here, I want you to leap back. Okay, good. That was kind of fun, wasn't it? Yeah. And then we're gonna turn the toes forward. Lift the tailbone, bring the hands up, and take rest here in bear pose. Now, I have the tendency to bow my back here, and I have to always remind myself, plug the belly in. So plug that belly in if you're not doing it already. Some of you naturally have that core awareness. And for some of us, it just doesn't, it's not innate. It's not innate for me. All right, so we're gonna move towards a crow pose. And that's an arm balance, which is why I had you lean back. I wanted you to have a little bit more room in front of you. So the hands come down, shoulder distance apart. The elbows are gonna splay out like old school version push up. And then scoop the elbows down and squeeze them more together. Fly your heels away from the ground, stacking your knees to your upper arms. Tilt your head slightly forward. Look out towards the top edge of your mat. Find your fulcrum of balance and point and lift your feet. If you can't get the feet off the floor, you're not leaning forward enough. Good, then come back down. Awesome. When you come down, sit down and bring the feet together. All right, so we haven't done this in a little bit. We have done it fairly recently, but I don't remember who was here. And I know you guys weren't with me. So I want you to have like a pose to hold while I show you a demonstration. So you can go ahead and fold forward if you'd like. And just make sure you can still see what I'm gonna demo. So we're gonna do crow again. And when we do crow again, I'm actually gonna do this. What we're gonna try to do here is bring it down to tripod headstand. If that freaks you out, you don't have to do it. But notice my head is farther than my fingers. I can see all my fingernails. And then if you have the core strength and the awareness to come up to headstand, you're welcome to. You can even add in the pose you're doing now. And then you can come back down perhaps. And then eventually child's pose. So if you want to have the blanket ahead of you for that softer landing, now it is kind of scary to start to fall forward, which is why we need the core work, right? So if you're like me and core work is not innate, you have to remember crow needs the core work. So you are pulling the abs in, and your head is looking out in crow. So the nice thing is when you start to just look down, your body's going to naturally go towards gravity, and you're not that far from the floor. Your elbows stay kind of closing in. Your triceps are going to be more engaged. Earlier we were doing the biceps, but here it's triceps. All right, want to try it? Okay. Don't look so excited. But I'm wanting to take us to our head because this is the indwelling place of the moon, and it's the full moon. So from squat, bear pose. From bear pose, hands down. Get your arms active. And if you just want to work on crow, you can just work on crow. And if you just want to work on tripod headstands, that was a beautiful exit, wasn't it? Yeah, if you start to roll forward, you didn't see Renee, but she did a beautiful execution of tucking the chin to the chest, and she just rolled out. And if you want to skip it, you can skip it. Yeah. Or like Michelle, she's like, what do you do instead? That works too, because she's totally inverted. It's a nice world, though. Yeah, it's a baby. That's called bailing. It was a beautiful bail. You know what it is, Renee? Your head needs to be more forward, like a tripod. And that's part of the issue. Just stay there, because that looks great. All right, take child's pose at the end of your playtime there. Blanket's nicer, isn't it? It's not so heavy or weighted on the skull. Plus the lessons of fear factor to have something soft there. The first time I ever did pro, I fell flat on my Roman nose. Luckily it did great. You didn't fail. That's why you fell. I slipped. My elbow slipped off my arm. I was like, ooh. All right, now that we've kind of evened all that out, I want you to slowly sit up. We're going to bring it forward to tabletop position. And after this, we should be done with the wrist. So flip your left hand open, and you're going to slide it right underneath the right forearm and dip down to the left ear. Keep your hips stacked over your knees. Push very lightly into your right hand. Keep hugging the belly in. Rolling towards that left shoulder blade. And thread the needle pose. Now I know some people like to do other things with that right arm. You can take another expression if you desire. You may have a favorite. Feels really good to you. We've had music on, but I've been trying to get it louder. It just won't go any louder for some reason. Relax any tension from the face. Relax your brow, the skin in between the eyes, interior and exterior of your mouth and jaw. And then inhale, let's come up. Flip your right hand open. Thread and loop it under. Lower down towards the right ear. Hug the belly in, push lightly into your left hand. Roll towards the right shoulder blade. This is the active version. Whenever we do the yin approach, it's called a different name. Feel free to change up that left arm if you wish. Maybe here you can affirm, I radiate my love, goodwill, compassion to soul, friends, everywhere. Let's unthread that arm. All right, grab one of your blocks. Since it's full moon, we're going to end with a couple restorative poses. Not that restorative, but kind of restorative. A restorative bridge. So knees bent. Here. Push down through the feet, tuck the tailbone, lift and elevate your hips, and slide the block underneath the sacrum at your low back. Sit down upon it. And if your low back feels cranky whatsoever, it could be that your ankles are too far towards the block. So maybe walk the feet a little bit more forward and out. Flip your palms open and slightly roll and tuck each shoulder under. And feel how that opens up the center of your chest. This is good for the spleen, good for hot flashes, thyroid glands. Heart chakra, throat chakra. Practice your pranayama, your breath control.
Now slowly begin to fly the feet up towards the ceiling. Let the block secure you in this position. And if it feels like it's not in the correct place when you lift the legs, then you can move that block to a different section and try again. Notice if your legs are slightly angled towards your face. And if they are, try to adjust the feet so they're right over your hips. Mary Beth, that was awesome. I just happened to be looking at you when you did that. Your feet can be somewhat relaxed, or you can point or flex, dependent on the experience and what you preference. So this is also ideal for around the full moon. If you can't do the legs up the wall, at least you're getting this in now. Now let's bend the knees, lower the feet, push through the feet, tuck and lift away from the block, remove the block, and then roll it down slowly. And then take your hands to the top of your knees and begin to circle them round and round several times. And then reverse the circles. And then hug the knees in. Apanasana. Clip your hands underneath your knees. Kick your feet up and then rock and roll forward to sit. All right, so you don't have to land this way for Shavasana, but I thought, since it's Leo is so kind of driven from the heart, we could land either in a back bend with the bolster or blocks. So if you have the blocks, it would form the T. And then if you don't want the back bend, you can do something else. You can do it that way too. You probably need the second one to the slide. So the blocks I was mentioning is more like this. Right? Go back to the finger, like that, or you can do the slide too. Yeah. You're welcome. So sit on the floor. Are you going to do it a different way? So the way I do it, Renee, is completely different. I don't know what classes you go to, and you guys may do something in different classes. I sit down and then do this. It's just space between the shoulder blades, and then that one goes underneath the head. It's a lecture. Try it. Once you get settled in, the body finds a safe comfort. Close your eyes. As you close your eyes, follow your exhale all the way down towards your feet. And allow your inhale to drive you back up
to your heart. Breathing into the heart, breathing out and down to your feet. This quote is from Carrie Samuels, a numerologist that I follow. And the other half is from an astrologer, Pam Gregory. This lunation eliminates lessons around leadership, love, and creative expression, inspiring us to let our true self shine. Be bold, be brave, pursue what sets your soul on fire. For wanting to create a new earth, we must first create it inside before we see it and experience it on the outside. Slowly begin to deep and slow breath. As you begin to deep and slow the breath, also awaken movements in your hands. Let's slide the feet back in our direction. And just rock and sway the knees gently side to side. Eventually turning over and forming a comfortable seat when ready. Draw your hands under the mudra. Life for me honors and bows the beautiful light given to you. For joining today. Have a beautiful Monday. So I am doing 2 workshops this month. I just wanted to let you guys know. Friday night. Oh, it's this Friday night. It's the 10th. Jen and I are going to be doing the restorative yoga and healing touch. We called it healing touch years ago before there was an energy work called healing touch. So it's not the energy work of healing touch. It's Thai yoga massage. It's adjustments while you're in poses. So it's more hands-on. You'll get that with each and every pose we take. And then it's just us giving some love back to you. You'll also get a rose and piece of chocolate. It's always around Valentine's, so I always like to add that. And then, let's see, the 26th of this month, which is Sunday from 2 to 4, I'll be teaming up with Ann Coffee, and we're doing the Acu-Detox. We brought that back. So the Acu-Detox is a blend of yin yoga, and then the needle points are actually in the ears. There are 5 acupressure points or points in the ears that we use. And then I talk you through Yoga Nidra, which is the long guided Shavasana, which is really lovely. So both of those are on the schedule. I think there's other stuff on the schedule too this month that's special. Because I signed up for one with Bharati. Bharati will be here the 19th, I believe. She's a physical therapist and certified yoga teacher. She's focusing on the low back and the SI joints. So if that's a problem area for you, definitely come. She's a wealth of knowledge. And I think there's also sound healing, I think, with Nada sound or Nada yoga with JoJo at some point this month. So you can look at the schedule for that.
Yeah, they